Hello, welcome to the Last Supper of Outcasts, formerly known as the Deadpan Parade. I'm your host, Monica Lewinsky. Today is June 7th, 2026. Not that it matters. I decided to change the name of the channel because I want to take it in a little bit of a different direction. I want it to still be funny, but I'm not going to recite one-liners, maybe here and there if they come to mind. But I, I think that I want to. The point of the channel in this case is more of about conveying some of the observations that I have witnessed throughout my life. And I do consider myself to be a sort of a witness. I've been observing things throughout the whole entire course of my life since a very young age that I believe there's been a lot of signals that were telling me that we're leading up, we were leading up to something, and lo and behold, here we are. And I'm not saying I'm special. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying simply that I'm a witness. I believe that almost every one of us is a witness, whether we know it or not. And I want to convey some of my observations that have happened to me in the past. And I want to convey some of the observations that I have witnessed in the present tense. And to share those experiences and to really try to find out if there's anyone out there that is recognizing the sorts of patterns that I've managed to, I guess, put together throughout almost 60 years. I'm 59 and a quarter. So that's really the essence of the channel, just to enunciate or articulate my observations throughout the course of my life, and there have been many of them, and to see if anyone can relate, and then also to draw conclusions from some of these observations, or whatever you want to call them. Because I do believe I'm a witness, and I believe that all of us are to some degree. It's just a matter of whether we're aware of it or not, and how much we're paying attention. So, and then I want to see how many people can relate or have similar stories. So, and you know, another thing, I'd like to build a community of people that are kind of thinking on the same page. And I think there's a lot more of us thinking on the same page than are not. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I am. Especially since I drive Uber, and that's a story I have, but I'm not going to get into it right now, about a job I had that I lasted 3 days before it just turned into it. It was a disaster from the beginning. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I decided to talk about something else. But I mentioned Uber because I get a lot of people in the car, a lot of varied, diverse people in the car. And I would say that anyone that I do talk to, and we get into the subjects of current affairs or current events, people are tending to recognize that, you know, something's going on, something big is going on here. I think at this stage it's undeniable. And for today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about when I was a child, or maybe like a teenager, around 14 or 15. I had a best friend. His name was Mark. My name is actually also Mark. I'm Today I'm Monica Lewinsky, but normally I'm just Mark. And my friend Mark's mother, I always think about this. And this relates to observations. And my observations going back several years, the ones I think that matter stay with me. So I remember Mark's mother, and she was kind of a hippie. She was cool as all heck. I loved her. I still love her. I hope she's doing okay. I haven't spoken with them in many, many years, but Mark was my best friend when I was in high school. This is a guy that nobody would mess with. I don't know what he was doing with me, but because I'm a kind of a little wimp. But Mark was as tough as they come, and he could back it up. That's for sure. There's no question about it. I remember one time he just picked me up and started swinging me around, and I mean it wasn't like he was tall or anything. He was just he was probably maybe 5'10", but he was strong as they come, man. You would not mess with this guy. He was deceptive too, so that made him even more dangerous for people that wanted to try to start with something with him. But either way, his mother was cool. His dad was cool too. But his mom, I used to get along with her, and she used to bring us on little excursions and stuff. And I remember one of the things I remember is her showing us. She was kind of like almost she was kind of almost like a mystic in a way. I wouldn't say a witch because she was cool and she didn't scare me, but she had that aura of that she knew things that normal people don't know. The normies don't know these things. And so after she got comfortable with me, she started to kind of like show things to me. And I remember one of the things was she produced Polaroids, and hopefully anyone that's young out there, a Polaroid was a camera that you would take the picture and it would instantly shoot out the film, and then you would have to kind of like wave it around, and then the film would develop right there. It was cool as hell. And she showed me a bunch of Polaroids that had pictures of people like in graveyards and stuff. She wasn't trying to freak me out. She was trying to tell me that there's more to this dimension than we think. And she's just one of several, probably hundreds of examples that I'm gonna try to convey here. And this channel's not to be about mysticism or anything like that, but it's to try to convey that the things that I've witnessed are leading up to the fact that something is going on in America, and something is going on right now in the entire world. And I think a lot of us can feel it. Uh, and that's what I'm really trying to convey here. And I'm trying to also convey that I'm not only a witness, but I recognize that there's something that's been leading up to this moment. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm some kind of a prophet or anything like that. I'm just conveying my experiences. That's all I'm doing, period. Nothing else. And it's 100%. I'm not making anything up. But then Mark's mother showed me some Polaroids, and they were in pictures of people like just standing there, like in a graveyard. But then she'd also point out that there's something standing behind them that wasn't supposed to be there. So in other words, it was some kind of a ghost. Something was there, uh, and it was undeniable. And it would be in those days. We're talking about 1983. You didn't have Photoshop or anything like that. It was a Polaroid. You couldn't really do much to edit it or play around with it. It was a Polaroid. It was a physical item that couldn't not be manipulated easily. So she showed me a few of those pictures. I wouldn't say crazy amounts, but just things like of her family members standing in graveyard, and there's figures or some shadows that are weird that don't belong there. And I remember that, and I still remember that. Uh, and then I remember one time she brought us, and this is in upstate New York. Upstate New York has a lot of, let's just say, a lot of goings on. There's some weird stuff that happens up there, up in upstate New York on the borderline of Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, and right next to Canada. It's right on Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. There's a lot of history there. Let's just put it like that. And I remember one time she drove me and Mark up to this place. I couldn't tell you where it was. It wasn't like it was way out, and it wasn't less. It wasn't a 10-minute drive from where we lived. It wasn't like we had to go way out somewhere, 50 miles to see this. But she brought us to a place that where you could go and you could see the. It was kind of a hill, a little bit of a hill that you had to put a little effort into going up to. The upstate New York has a lot of gorges and a lot of hilly areas and in rough terrain. So that's where we were. I couldn't to this day tell you, but all I remember is we got up to the top of this little butte or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't a mountain. It was a small type of hill, and and there were pockets in the ground that were glowing, and they were emitting smoke, and the smoke was lit by whatever was glowing in the ground. And I never really got an explanation for that. And the dumb kids that we were, my face was right over these things, and there were probably, I remember, maybe 5 to 10 of these holes in the ground in this butte or hill that were emitting some kind of smoke. They were lit from under the ground, and I remember it being like a pinkish light. And when I put my face over it and looked, and she didn't stop me from doing it, so I figured that she knew it wasn't dangerous, but it probably was. It's probably why I'm out of my mind right now. But there was no really smell that I remember or anything. And there was really no explanation behind it. And, I was just a dumb kid, and I didn't probably think to ask a lot of questions, but I remember that. And then I remember her saying, while we were up there, and this is just one small example of my experience witnessing and observing and paying attention to what people say and how they're relating to what's occurring today. It's almost like it's baffling, and it's almost kind of frightening to me. But she said, when we were up there, I remember we were on that hill with whatever kind of gas was coming out of the ground. It wasn't a volcano. They were small little holes that were probably like 10 inches wide in diameter, and they were kind of circular, rough circular, not perfect circles, but they were holes in the ground, and they were spread around the butte in a haphazard manner. So it wasn't like everything was concentrated, but they were concentrated on top of that specific butte. But I remember her saying, and this wasn't provoked, because again, I'm just an idiot kid. I have no idea what the hell's going on then. And I still don't. I'll always admit that. I don't know what's going on. But I will say that after almost 60 years on this earth, something is going on. Absolutely. Something is going on that we're not privy to yet. But I think that we're going to be privy to it soon. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I remember Mark's ma saying, while we were on that hill with the methane gas or whatever it was I'm still here, so it didn't kill me. She said, "You'll know that it was either you'll know that the world is either," she said, "it's ending or it's changing dramatically when the money system changes." And it's honest to God truth, she said that. And lo and behold, here we are today. You got a lot of big names talking about the fact that the powers that be are pushing us into a new money system. And I guess you could say that that's part of the Great Reset or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is, but she said that. And it was unprovoked, and I remember that specifically to this day. You'll know when the world is coming to an end or there is great change coming. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she definitely said that when the money system changes. And now here we are, the money system's changing. They're trying to tokenize everything. In case you don't realize this, just look it up. Look up this the Genius Act that President Trump just put into he signed into law. I think it was last July. The powers that be are getting ready to push us all into a a, a, a centralized uh, cryptocurrency, I guess you could call it, where they'll be able to tokenize everything. We'll all have to use it, otherwise we won't be able to buy anything. If the powers that be don't like what you're buying or what your politics are, or if you didn't vote for the right person, or you bought too much ketchup, or you didn't eat enough 3D printed chicken, they're going to cut that your ability to use this token off. So you'll either starve or you're going to go with the flow here. And they're gearing up for this. That's coming. So if you're not aware of the Genius Act, if you're not aware of the talk about stable coins, they're getting ready to switch the money system. And so this is 40 years ago. I remember Mark's ma telling me that this is going to happen. How did she know that? I don't know if she did know that, but why would she say that out of the blue, just completely out of the blue, while we're looking at holes in the ground that are emitting some kind of a gas? So this lady knew something. I'm convinced of it, and that's just a short story about someone that I've met that conveyed a powerful idea. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to kind of rein in the intent of this channel, which again, to kind of summarize, is to convey some of the things that I have personally experienced and witnessed with my own eyes that I feel relate to what is actually going on in this world right now, and to see and to kind of put my own tag on it and what I think it means. But I also want to see if there's anyone else out there that has experienced signals and signs telling you that whatever's coming is coming, and almost to a degree how it's going to occur. Uh, and then just that's kind of the purpose of the channel. So I hope that kind of helps clarify why I'm here. And I'm going to still try to make it funny, but these days it's hard to find anything to really take light in, because there to me there's not much that's funny anymore. And I used to think everything was funny, and I still do. And at the same, at the same time, I still, like I said in one of my previous videos, I refuse to take this seriously. Any of anything that we're experiencing here seriously, because what we're witnessing and what we're going through here I truly believe it's massive. It's going to be a massive consciousness expansion, and a lot of us that are prepared mentally for it are going to be able to handle it, and a lot of us that are not mentally prepared for this shift are going to have a hard time. But other than that, that's really it for today. uh, I hope you got something out of the video. I hope it clarifies what I'm trying to do. Hopefully, as I go along here, it'll become clearer. I don't want to sit here and rant, so I'm going to try to have specific targets about some of the things I've observed throughout my life, and then I'd love to get your thoughts and your comments and see if anyone else out there has experienced these things or is currently experiencing these things. So other than that, thank you for taking your time. Thank you for watching the channel. Please like, please subscribe, please hit the notification bell. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon, and I hope you have a great night.